Welcome to the Pick 3 Cards podcast from Taryn Sydow at IamLightwalker.com. Hold a question in mind and choose 3 podcasts or pick 3 cards from the I Am Lightwalker deck. The message you receive will be the message you need. Wait to the end of the podcast for a link to get your own set of cards. Here's Taryn.
Okay. All right, so welcome. Today's card is It's Time to Give Up. This is a very provocative card, and a card that for many people kind of raises some level of disturbance, because when we think of giving up, we've been taught over time that it's a bad thing, that giving up makes you weak, that giving up makes you a failure, that giving up is a terrible trait. But the truth of it is there's many things in life that we need to detach from, many things that by giving up we free ourselves. And then when we see this card, we can see that. We can see sort of the idea of this barbed wire fence being cut free, and then we are able to soar, we're able to release ourselves. And so the card is very much around, what do you need to detach from? What are you bound yourself to and almost so attached to that you're holding yourself in a false level of reality? And so sometimes we need to give up on a relationship, sometimes we need to give up on a job, sometimes we need to give up on a self-identity, a version of ourselves that we're holding ourselves to. Maybe sometimes we need to give up on the need for approval. We need to give up on something that we have decided we want that maybe is not manifesting. There's a great saying that says, if you keep knocking on a door and it does not open for you, then maybe it's not your door. And I see so many of my clients that are so attached to a plan they put in place from their sort of younger self. So if you even imagine at sort of the age of 17 or 18, figuring out a plot for your life. You know, where should I be at 30? What must I be doing at 35 and 40? And then when you're at that age, maybe life has taken you on a different course and wanting you to do different things. But you're so attached to your plan that you're missing out on the benefit of what your life is about now. The other thing that comes up with this card is when we are, attached to sort of self-sabotaging and self-limiting ideas and beliefs. And sometimes we have come to conclusions and stories in our mind that are not accurate and it's not serving our joy. And to give up on that story, to give up on that version of reality, requires us to at least interrogate it and say, is it accurate and is it true? Is it serving my path? One of the ways that this has been shown to me quite frequently is to live in a state of perpetual detachment. So detached from anything from yesterday or tomorrow, to just live in the current moment and allow what it is to be what it is, and to give up on the need to know what you thought yesterday and where you're going to tomorrow, and allow your life to unfold in the way that it is. Now, to do this is not necessarily the easiest thing in the world. It firstly requires presence. It requires you to pay attention to what is it that's holding you separate, what is it that's keeping you small, and then to identify what it is that keeps you attached to that. How is it serving you? A lovely way that I've been taught to think about this, and certainly it's something that provokes a lot of thought in me, is how does holding on to this excuse you from something else? What's the excuse it's giving you? And when you start to identify that, maybe it's keeping you from the possibility of being happy, or from experiencing love, from stepping into the greater part of you that often is vulnerable. And so the things that we attach to are often protective mechanisms. And so there's another card that we'll talk about another day that says you are safe, and these 2 cards work very much hand in hand. So an exercise that I'd offer you with regards to this card is to sit down and notice all the excuses you have for moving forward. And the excuses sound like this: if I could, I would do this. If I had time, then I would do that. If it wasn't for my mother, then I could have this. Whatever it is that you've created as a blockage to your joy, your success, your greatness, your enlightenment, that excuse is often something that needs to be interrogated as to, how do you give up on that? What is it excusing you from, and what would be possible if you let that go? So, sending you lots of love. Here's to your freedom. Namaste.
Get your very own deck of I Am Lightwalker cards straight from Taryn by visiting iamlightwalker.com/cards.